Okay, so let's check out this flipbook. So yeah, even we're not doing anything within the sim really. We're not adding any forces or anything. I suppose just the temperature, which is moving things, and the velocity, which is all actually coming in from our source. We've got something way more interesting now than when we started with just a ball, and all of this is just coming from our source, right? But we can definitely improve this substantially even more. So we're going to look at micro solvers now. Before we do that, so with that we can make some nice comparisons. If we come here to Windows and take a look at our sequence list, okay, so there we can have different flipbooks layered on top of each other. I'm just going to minimize that for a moment. And then also if we come here and go to render and go to new sequence, so that now if I click new sequence, when I run another flipbook, it won't delete this one. It won't override this one. Okay. Yeah, if you're if you're finding it's taking a long time to run this, you can run it at a lower resolution. So just raise that voxel size, or you can do a lower, do 50 frames or something, up to you. Okay, so come to render, go to new sequence. Now I'm going to minimize that, make that small again. And we're going to look at gas solvers. So within the power solver, you do have them here in the shape tab. So we've got dissipation, disturbance, shredding, turbulence, and we're going to add them with more detail inside. So we're going to look at dissipation, disturbance, and turbulence. Not shredding. Shredding I would use more for fire, to get kind of flames, and I think one more as well. So let me dive inside here. Okay, and here you can see there's a note to help. It says wire gas microsolvers here to apply forces on the pyrosim or the dynamic effects. So if we press tab and type gas, we can see we've got a whole load of different nodes here that we can use, DOP nodes, which can be used to affect the pyro simulation. And so the main ones we're going to be using is I'm going to write disturbance. Okay, we'll start with this. So disturbance will basically, if we come back to this, so it will look for the boundaries of your smoke and add very small size details, so kind of little bumps and tiny little grainy detail, to kind of avoid these smooth domey kind of shapes that are kind of typical with bad simulations, basically. So something like that is not natural to have something so smooth. You wouldn't get that in nature. So this disturbance is trying to break that up. So let's do that first, and then hopefully we can get a nice comparison. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 different ones. We got the strength is, obviously how much of an effect does it have. So I'm going to bring this down to 0.1, and the scale, so how big the actual shapes will be, I'm going to set this to 0.4. All right, and then I'm going to do another one. Alt click and drag. Just going to give myself some space here. So we got a, let's see, I'm going to do large. Okay, I'm going to do a medium sized one and a small sized one. So the medium, med, I'm going to do the strength a bit stronger, 0.2, and the scale of 0.2 as well, and then a small, size, small will be a bit stronger still, 0.4, and the reference 0.1. Okay, so just small will be this, medium and large, and then we'll merge them together. Oops. Yeah, don't worry about these inputs, they're not relevant. Just move them out the way. What is important is that you connect your solvers to the output here at the bottom. Okay, and let's see how that looks. So just to double check, make sure we go render new. You can see I can't click it now, so it's ready for a new sequence. and I'm going to flipbook that. Right, I'm just going to cancel this. I'm going to press escape because I've noticed that the lighting is different. I think that's because we're inside the solver. If we come out, yeah, you can see the shading changes. All right, I'm just going to come out, big size, and then just press flipbook again. There we go. So got that flipbook there now. So in your sequence list, you can flick between the two. You can see the difference there between them. Okay, let's just watch this first. I'm sure you'll agree, is much better again. You can see those tiny little details, breaking up these surfaces. It looks much more realistic, really. And when we will eventually bring the voxel size down again to capture the really, really small details, and obviously working on the lighting as well will improve that as well. Another way to make comparisons, other than just kind of flicking between the two, you can also come here, come to, if I remember, render. No. Let's see, where was it? Here, in image and compare images. Check that, and then so you've got a few options, so you can do that, split between the two. Another thing, if you right click on this, a good one is blend, so you can just kind of blend between the two to see the difference. But yeah, I just like these kind of splits, are quite handy. There's other things there, but you don't need to do them. Okay, so I'm going to leave that a minute. Go to new sequence again. Where was it? Render new sequence. Okay, so that'll add another one onto this list. And now I want to look at some turbulence. So a good way to think about it is this is small noises, small differences, and turbulence is typically used for big. It has a bigger effect, right? So I'm going to come here, tab, turbulence, gas turbulence, and we should be able, I don't know if it works in here, but you should be able to visualize this as well. So I'm going to do 1 of a scale of 0.1. So this again is the strength, and then the swirl size is the actual. If I turn this on, will we see? No. Oh, I've got to plug it in. I'm going to merge, drop one merge here because I'm going to have 2 turbulences, and then another merge to bring them into the mainstream. There we go. So we can see it there. So can see there the scale is how strong. You can see the colors changing. That's indicating to us the scale, how much it pushes the velocity, or I think the temperature actually. Bindings. Yeah, no, I think it does. Yeah, it has an effect on the velocity itself. And then the swirl size are the actual is the shape of these of the kind of curves, right? I'm going to bring that to 5. Set that to 5, and then another kind of a few more typical kind of noise attributes that you can play around with. I'm going to leave them at default, and then I'm going to grab another one here, connect that up in that. And then for this one, I'm going to make it smaller effect with a smaller swirl size. So we'll do the same here, big and small. Okay, and then a couple more solvers I want to add. So if you remember, I turned off the dissipation in the solver itself, so I'm going to add it back. And be careful with this. I see quite a lot of simulations where the dissipation is too high. I think just because by default it's set to like 0.1 or something, which I find is really high. So let me turn off the visualization on these. So dissipation, so you have that's another reason for using these. You have more options here, and in the solver itself, in the shape tab, you just have one value to represent both of these. So you have diffusion, which is kind of like blurring out. So it shows me on the first frame here what it's doing, and then evaporation, I don't think we'll see anything, is actually just completely removing the density per frame. So yeah, I'm going to be very conservative with these and set them both to 0.001, 0.001. And then one more thing I want to add is vortex confinement. So vortex confinement. So this, you know, so if you think about what a vortex is, it's kind of these swirls, kind of similar to what you get from the turbulence. This is adding to the velocity in the scene. I'm just going to move this over. You don't have to, it's just kind of annoying me that they're not, that these lines aren't lined up nicely. There we go. So yeah, the vortex confinement will try to maintain the vortices as they kind of move away from the source. You know, as the solver goes on, that they don't kind of blur and we don't lose energy in the simulation. That it's going to try and maintain and hold those. It's going to try and confine the vortices basically. Okay, I'm just going to leave that at default. Cool. So now we've got all them. Let's come back out here. Grab our camera again, full screen, and let's see if we can see, hopefully we see some difference with those. Okay, so we've got that simulation done. So yeah, in your sequence list, you can see that we got the first one, the second, and the third that we just did. So this is with the turbulence, dissipation, and the vortex confinement. So let's take a look at that, see how it looks. So yeah, we're looking much better again. Got some really nice details in there, nice movement. You can see the effect of the turbulence for sure. If we do that and split between them, maybe, where was it? Blend, that one. Yeah, I'm much preferring, you know, the effect that we're getting now is looking really, really nice. Great.